This is Galaxy Television News, our top stories. President Buhari speaks at the 76th session of the UN General Assembly, urging world leaders to reject unconstitutional takeover. Preparations are in top gear for the celebration of the 61st Independence Day in Nigeria. Taliban's notorious former head of religious police says extreme punishments such as executions and amputations will resume in Afghanistan. Those are top stories. Details coming up in just a moment. Thanks for joining us on Galaxy Television News for this time. I'm Solomon Ofem. President Muhammadu Buhari says the recent trend of unconstitutional takeover of power, sometimes in reaction to unilateral changes of constitutions by some leaders, must not be tolerated by the international community. In a speech at the 76th session of the UN General Assembly on Friday, the president warned that democratic gains of the past decades in West Africa are now being eroded due to the negative trends. He affirmed Nigeria's support to effort by ECOWAS, EU and the UN to address the growing challenge. Correspondent Oke Nabuchi report.
The president urged the international community not only to deal with the symptoms of conflict, but also the immediate causes that fuel conflicts in the first place, which include poor and undemocratic governance, human rights abuses, poverty, ignorance, injustice, and inequalities. The president's speech, delivered from the podium of the General Assembly Hall, addressed other matters on the international agenda of interest to Nigeria, including the COVID-19 pandemic, Arms Trade Treaty, climate change, terrorism, anti-corruption, debt suspension, international trade, United Nations Security Council reform, Palestinian question, racial discrimination, among others. On the issue of debt in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, the Nigerian leader urged G20 countries to extend its debt suspension initiatives to all developing countries, least developed countries, small island, developing states facing fiscal and liquidity challenges. The president also called for outright debt cancellation for countries facing the most severe challenges.
Mr. President, Your Excellencies, we must admit that as the world grows richer, there are regrettable signals in the world economic and political order. Millions in Africa and around the world remain in abject poverty. Furthermore, we are witnessing a backlash against multilateralism in the shape of a rising tide of racism, xenophobia, resurgent nationalism, populism, and tendencies towards protectionism and unilateralism. The pristine principles of the United Nations, I fear, are threatened.
The president also used the occasion of the speech to renew his advocacy for equitable distribution of COVID-19 vaccines, outlining steps Nigeria is taking to achieve moderate success in containing the virus and halt its deadly onslaught in the country. He said Nigeria remains grateful for the assistance received from partners and friends all over the world. On the fight against terrorism, the president told the United Nations General Assembly that the Nigerian security forces have recorded considerable success. He noted that while terrorism continues to dominate security discourse worldwide, in Nigeria, Boko Haram terrorist group, though fragmented by internal strife and weakened by defense forces, is still active and preying on soft targets. He said Nigeria will continue to work closely with United Nations counter-terrorism bodies and entities with a view to bringing the scourge to an end.
Organized criminal networks, often acting with impunity across international borders, present new challenges where only collective action can deliver genuine results. This is true in the battle against violent extremism, against trafficking in people and drugs, and against corruption and money laundering. The present Nigerian government is facing the challenges of corruption head-on. We are giving notice to international criminal groups by the vigorous prosecution of the fee and ID scam attempting to cheat Nigeria of billions of dollars.
On international trade, President Buhari called for reforms that will engender recovery from the COVID-19 crisis, build resilience to future shock, and pursue transformative development strategies that can deliver the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals.
We are also committed to strengthening partnership and cooperation with international and regional organizations for the benefit of humanity. Thank you very much.
All is now set for the celebration of the 61st Independence Celebration of Nigeria. A Minister of Information and Culture who addressed journalists on the readiness of government for the event said it is to appreciate the effort of Nigerian forebearers who pushed for the independence from the colonial masters. The minister, who was represented by the Permanent Secretary in the Ministry, Ifeoma Anyanwu Taku, said the celebration will avail government the opportunity to showcase its infrastructural revolution, which it embarked upon since assumption of office. He highlighted the various activities rolled out by the federal government for the celebration. The minister said President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the lineup of activities for the anniversary celebration.
Excellency, Mr. President has graciously approved the following line of activities. The first on the lineup is a special interdenominational church service. Second activity will be the special award ceremony, / Discover Nigeria. And this is scheduled for Thursday, the 30th of September 2021, and is scheduled to hold at the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa.
Independent National Electoral Commission (INEC) has appealed to the National Population Commission (NPC) to periodically avail the Commission with the data of deceased Nigerians. Chairman of the Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, made the appeal during a courtesy call on the Commission by delegates of the National Population Commission in Abuja Friday. Yakubu said provision of the data will help INEC to further clean up the voters' register. He advised the Population Commission to get most of the data from the official records of government ministries, departments and agencies, as well as funeral records across the country. The chairman, however, reassured of continuous partnership with the National Population Commission.
Technology cannot help us to identify and remove dead persons from the register of voters. Therefore, I wish to once more appeal to the chairman of the National Population Commission, in your capacity as the Registrar of Birth and Death in Nigeria, to periodically avail us of the data of deceased Nigerians so that we can use the official information from your commission to further clean up the voters' register. Perhaps you may wish to start by availing the commission, that is INEC, the list of prominent Nigerians who have passed on, civil and public servants compiled from the official records of ministries, departments, and agencies, and other Nigerians from hospital and funeral records across the country.
Earlier, the Executive Chairman, National Population Commission, Nasir Isa, announced that the Commission might conduct census by 2022 with the directive of President Muhammadu Buhari. He said the Commission will introduce electronic means for the exercise.
16 years, we've not been able to conduct any national census due to so many factors. But Recently, we got the nod. We are likely to conduct census in 2002. Mr. President has sent correspondence. He's prepared. He's willing to conduct the census, but this will come from him. He's going to make the proclamation by himself, and we're making arrangement for that.
A prominent Warri lawyer and an Isekiri chief, Robinson Ario, has berated the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, over what he describes as their role in the theft of the sum of 300 million naira from the account of the Isekiri Regional Development Council, IRDC. He made these disclosures during a press conference in Warri, which he said is to make not only the Isekiri Nation and Warri Kingdom know the fraud perpetrated by his kinsmen, but to know some of the things that has led to the underdevelopment of the community. Addressing journalists, Chief Ario said the alleged compromise by the EFCC and the police is an example of the scale of corruption in Nigeria.
The EFCC has compromised. The police has compromised in the ongoing looting of our collective resources. Today, I'm going to talk to you on this subject matter with particular reference to an incident that you are all aware of, the theft of 300 million naira from the account of the Isekiri Regional Development Committee. This is just an example of the scale of corruption.
Armed with a different document and court papers to buttress his point, the legal practitioner said those responsible for the stealing of the 300 million naira from the IRDC account filed a process to remove the names of those who did not cooperate with them in stealing the said sum.
They filed this process to remove the names of 2 people who would not cooperate with them. The 2 people's names are here. Their names are here. In the same morning, that's without serving these people, in the same morning, when they did this, they filed what they call the terms of settlement. If you get this document, you will see that they were filed the same time. They were filed at 8:39 a.m. on that morning. And they also filed these terms of settlement on that morning. Removing those 2 persons, those 2 parties, you will go through it, you will see it. Because when you file processes in court, the time when you file the processes are always written there.
It will be recalled that the court had stopped the withdrawal of funds from the IRDC account, which had 2.1 billion naira as a result of the fraud perpetrated in the withdrawal of 300 million naira from the account. This is Galaxy Television News. Time for us to go for a break. When we come back, Magistrate Court adjourns #EndSARS detainees arraignment case till December 17. We'll bring you details of that and more shortly. Don't go away. It is good to have you back. This is Galaxy Television News. For more updates and latest news, log on to our website, galaxytvonline.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV Nigeria. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Official Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp if you have breaking news around you. Simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-6666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. Now, one of the 300 detainees in a Kirikiri prison over the HENTAS protest, Panao Robert, was scheduled for arraignment on Friday, September 24 at the Yaba Magistrate Court. The detainee, who is a Beninese, was arrested October 22 on his return from a job being a tiller with his equipment, phones and money. Galaxy's Tifet Animama, who was at the Yaba Magistrate Court, reports that after 3 hours behind the initially scheduled time for the hearing, the court registrar announced adjournment of the case till 17 December. Speaking with newsmen, counsel to the detainee, Barrister Festus Ogun, expressed displeasure over the adjournment, noting that the detainees have been remanded in custody for too long, thereby violating their fundamental human rights. The legal practitioner further expressed worries over the Nigerian judicial system.
My client, Robert Pano, was arrested on the 22nd of October 2020. He is not even a Nigerian. He is a Beninese who came to Nigeria to make a living. He is a tiler by profession. That's what he does for a living. So he was coming from work on that fateful day, and he was stopped around Lekki Toll Gate. He was arrested under the allegation that he was part of those that burned Lekki Toll Gate. This is a foreigner who is busy with his job as a tiler in this country. He was just coming from his place of work, leaving his place of work, going to his home. He was arrested. And since then, in fact, apart from his arrest, he was unlawfully detained beyond the period contemplated by law, even before he was arraigned to court. So and since then, there has been no prosecution, there has been no trial, and he has not been granted bail. I went to visit him at Apapa, at Kirikiri, where he was detained. And you would see the level of hardship, the level of injustice, and the level of agony those that were arrested in connection with the EndSARS protests and others are passing through. It is so painful that in a country where we operate a constitutional democracy, the system is fashioned in such a way and manner that it's very hard for it to produce justice. This is not about the courts. This is not about the magistrate. It is about the system. Our justice system is designed in such a way and manner that it might be very hard for it to produce justice. And that is why we are putting all our efforts to ensure that those who were simply exercising their rights, particularly innocent people who never even participated in the protest, are made to suffer injustice. It should not happen in any sane society. It should not happen.
The wife of Nigeria's President Aisha Buhari has decried poor representation of women in formal peace and security processes, despite the effort of the African First Ladies Peace Mission, AFLPM, which has distinguished itself as a veritable organization for advocating peace, stability, and harmony in Africa. The First Lady was speaking at luncheon accelerating women, peace and security in Africa within the SDG agenda at the margin of the 76th United Nations General Assembly organized by AFLPM. Correspondent Nabuchoke Nabuchi again sent in this report.
The event served as a step towards the reinvigoration of the AFLPM in achieving its well-defined mandates, which include the promotion of peace in Africa. It also raised awareness of the benefits of gender participation in peace building and contributing to ending conflict in Africa. The AFLPM is the outcome of the 1995 United Nations Conference on Women in Beijing, China. Represented by Dr. Mario Almakura, Special Assistant to the President of Nigeria on Women Peace, Mrs. Buhari noted that women have distinguished themselves with achievement in every field of human endeavor that paved the way for more equality, solidarity, and inclusion at the local, national, and global levels. She stressed that the organization must continue to build on these successes in the months and years to come.
The African First Ladies Peace Mission is the outcome of the 1995 United Nations Conference on Women in Beijing, China. Over the past years, African First Ladies Peace Mission has promoted peace and given humanitarian support to victims of violence across Africa. The African First Ladies Peace Mission has earned good reputation for itself as a viable organization for advocating peace, stability, and harmony in Africa. To remedy this situation, the UN Security Council since October 2000 has adopted 9 women peace and security resolutions, which aim to strengthen women's participation, protection, and rights in conflict prevention and resolution process.
The first maintained that women can achieve incredible change, conflict transformation, and sustainable peace if they continue supporting and advocating for more inclusion and participation of women, and in particular young women, as equal partners in society with leadership and decision-making roles in Africa and across the globe. The Nigeria's First Lady recalled it was to remedy the poor representation of women in peace and conflict processes that the United Nations Security Council since October 2000 to adopt 9 women peace and security resolutions with aim to strengthen women's participation, protection, and rights in conflict prevention and resolution processes. It was a First Lady affairs, and the First Lady of the Republic of Gambia, Fautama Babaru, in her remarks, said the Sustainable Development Goals, which aim to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people of the world enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030, strike a chord in every woman on the African continent in that put together they address issues that affect women and the girl child.
Africa needs to sustain and consolidate peace and security across the continent in order to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, which aims to end poverty, protect the planet, and ensure that all people of the world enjoy peace and prosperity by 2030, strike a course in every woman on the African continent. This concerns that the SDGs particularly affect women and the girl child. In particular, Goal 5, which seeks to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls.
The event largely centered on Goal 5, which seeks to achieve gender equality and empower all women and girls, and Goal 16, which seeks to promote peaceful and inclusive society for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, and inclusive institutions at all levels to hold great for the African women and girl child. Senior Special Assistant to the President on SDGs, Adejoke Adefilure, assured of more advocacy for the engagement of women in the prevention and resolutions of conflict as provided by the United Nations Security Council Resolution 1325 of October 31, 2000.
The theme of our discussion today speaks to the vision of SDG 5 on gender equality and women and girls empowerment, and SDG 6 that speaks to peace, justice, and strong institutions. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the goal of gender equality, development, and peace cannot be achieved Within the African context, women political participation and representation will lead to significant outcomes for peace, justice, and strong institutions, including greater responsiveness to citizen needs and more sustainable future.
The consensus at the event was the possibility of achieving peace and security to encourage the realization of the SDGs Agenda 2030. Also at the event were the representative of Nigeria's Consul General in New York, Ambassador Nicholas Ella, and Senior Technical Advisor, Office of the SSA to the President on SDGs.
The Chief of Army Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Isiaka, has warned personnel of the Nigerian Air Force against dehumanizing civilians. He stated that NAF will not tolerate any act of indiscipline. The Chief of Air Staff, who was the guest of honor at the graduation ceremony of the Nigerian Air Force Institute of Administrative Management, was represented by the Chief of Staff, Air Training Command, AVM Emmanuel Ogbonnaya Chukwu. The Air Chief emphasized that the 144 graduates of the Institute must uphold the ethics of the profession. He therefore urged them to be resourceful in applying what they have learned during the course of study, which will help them in better service delivery.
It is worthy of note that 153 personnel started this course, as earlier said. But 29 of them didn't make minimum requirement for a pass. And one of them was even dropped for indiscipline, even though I heard that the general discipline level was impressive, but someone decided to give blank leg.
Squadron Leader M. Aliu, the Dean School of Physical Education, and other senior officers have this to say about the graduates.
Today, we are graduating 6 courses: the Admin A1 upgrading course, Admin A2 upgrading course, Advanced Music course, BIGU course, Supervisory School Education course, and Advanced School Education course 14/2021.
Sir, out of the 153 students that reported to the Institute, only 144 seated in this auditorium met the requirement for the conferment of certificates of their respective courses. We are not unaware of the myriad of challenges facing the service, coupled with limited resources. However, we have continued to enjoy support from the administration, which has made it possible for the successful conduct of the course graduating today.
Ogun Command of Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps says it has created 3 additional divisional headquarters and 1 area command for more effective coverage of the state. The state commandant, Kolawole Taiwo, made this known while briefing newsmen on his first 3 months in office. With the new creations, Ogun Command now have 61 divisions and 9 area commands. He noted that the new structure had reduced the workload on the senior officers while making for easy monitoring of the agency's security operation in the state. Taiwo added that the command had recently launched a joint task force with the Association of Licensed Private Security Practitioners of Nigeria, ALPSN, to flush out unregistered private security companies in the state.
The command is now run through 9 area commands and 61 divisional offices, which made the supervisory roles for each divisional officer more effective and efficient. The command has reappraised the need for at least 3 agro-ranger bases in the state, which in the first instance will cater for the 3 senatorial districts in the state: Ogun East, Ogun West, and Ogun Central. And with all hands on deck, issues about herders and farmers' conflicts should be at the lowest end.
In its bid to ensure improved working relationship and synergy between youth and operatives of the state security network codenamed Amotekun Corps, Oyo State government has sued for peace between the two parties. The sensitization stakeholders meeting, which was held at the House of Chiefs Agodi Secretariat Ibadan, was attended by youths from across the state, especially from areas termed hotspots of clashes. Community leaders, Amotekun operatives, and government functionaries, among others. Correspondent Kunojo reports that government representatives at the meeting appealed to both the youths and the Amotekun operatives to see each other as brothers and partners in progress.
Are the backbone of any society, and whatever policy or agenda the society has, without the youth being part of the implementation constituency, it is very likely that such agenda or policy might not see the light of the day. So what is happening here today is a welcome development, particularly engaging the youth and the Amotekun Corps.
A lot of incessant reports and complaints we've gotten regarding the Amotekun Corps. But of course, as a government, we are aware of the fact that whenever a new policy is enacted, some people would go against the policy probably when it works against them.
On his part, the Magaji of Ilela Chief Olajunwa Subair lamented how the youth are being used by the politicians for their political gain and abandoned them thereafter. Also, the representative of the Amotekun Corps at the meeting, Adeleke Tajuddin, solicited the support and cooperation of the youth towards ensuring safety of lives and property of residents.
Yeah, like I have said, it is intense. It's always intense between the youths and security agency. So, you know, when they see them, both parties are always sensitive. The Amotekun are always, you know, eager to hunt. It's just like the prey and the predator. So they see them as prey, and those ones are always looking out, okay, even if they are not doing anything bad at that point, they are always ready to take to their heels.
We are very, very glad to be in the midst of this interaction, because we need to work hand in hand with the youth. That is why we youth are engaged in this Amotekun Corps operative, so that we can join hands together and operate together for the betterness of Oyo State. It will definitely helps us 100%, because youth now believes and accept us as one of them. So they see us as friend and family. So that means if they can see us as friend and family, they will not be able to attack us. They will not be able to do us with any harmful substance, and it will help us a lot.
Protesting women from various communities in Uheli North Local Government area of Delta State have taken to the street in protest over the disposition of a corpse at the palace of the traditional ruler, the Uvie of Uheli. The women who gathered at the King's Palace marched through Isoko Road, branding leaves and displaying placards with different inscriptions over what they described as the defilement of their land by a neighboring community representative. Speaking on the incident, a community women leader and a protester describes the deposition of a corpse at the entrance of the King's Palace as an abomination.
Usually they do their festival. Now some people go fight. Oto do not fight. Oh, they come carry the body, come the gate of the palace, and they see Ija of the Peking. They cut in hand. That was still the hospital now.
Yes. So we come here say, Osegbako people carry dead body come of the palace. So king go call us say every women tell each community say make we come.
It will be recalled that a community youth was killed during the first day of the ongoing festival, while some angry youth deposited the corpse at the entrance of the King's Palace, which led to the protest by the women. Oyo State government has been advised to set up a series of enlightenment initiatives to combat the outbreak of cholera, which is ravaging some communities in the state. Already no fewer than 61 persons have received medical attention for cholera in the past 3 weeks in Kisi-Irekpo local government area of Oyo State. Some experts who spoke with correspondent Kunle Ojo in Ibadan on the outbreak of the disease in the state charged the government and other stakeholders to rise to the occasion in order to curtail the spread to other parts of the state.
The outbreak of any infectious diseases has always been here with us, and has always been the challenges facing the health sector. The outbreak of cholera is just like every other outbreak. Cholera is, has been with us for a while. But the major aspect I would like to talk about right now is the preventive aspect, because all these infectious cases can be prevented. That is where good hygiene comes in. The government needs also to come around in the area of sensitization.
All right, I think the government of Oyo State need to speed up whatever plans that they have concerning cholera in Oyo State. And since we know that cholera is majorly a sanitation disease, basic thing that we want the government to do right now is to, make people to be involved in sanitation.
They stressed the need for government to bring back the usual environmental sanitation activities which had been suspended for a while.
The sources of our water, the sources of our meal, where we eat, where we buy our food, and how we prepare all these things. Because when you talk about the cholera, bacterial infection, and most of the sources are either from water or from the food, when food not properly preserved or prepared. And when you are eating or buying some of these things from unhygienic environment. So the outbreak is real. It just appears that it just is coming into Oyo State of recent, because for the past 2-3 months now, other states have witnessed it, even Lagos, Ogun State, down to far north. So the preventive aspect, and that is the role that we pharmacists can play, because our facilities are well spread in all our communities.
Ton of good water. When I came to Ibadan, at least we used to have, the house I rented, we used to have this public water, all the way from the Water Corporation, but those things are no more now. Government should work on it, because this disease spreads through contaminated food and water. So government should work on all these things, make sure sanitation is the key thing in Oyo State.
Residents of Akure, the Ondo State capital, are lamenting over increasing prices of building materials. Some of them said the prices of building materials are making it difficult for people to embark on housing projects. Our Ondo State correspondent, Shegun Falomo, now report.
This is certainly a time for many Nigerians due to harsh economic weather occasioned by the impact of devaluation of the naira. This is having serious effects on many households across the country. The people of Ondo State, southwest of Nigeria, are not also left out. Many of them are lamenting over the rising cost of building materials. Prices of building materials such as cement, sharp sands, iron rods, tiles, roofing sheets, amongst others, have gone up. They said it has become extremely difficult for them to embark on projects at this time.
Difficult for just a common man to build a house in this country. Talk about cement, talk about iron sheet, talk about asbestos. They are above more than 300% increase. So for just a common man or civil servant to build house now, it will take the grace of God.
The cost of increase in this building material is because of inflation. There is hyper inflation in the country. Where there is inflation, the cost of building materials, food stuff, and other things will go up.
It might affect them. But what I see about this country is that many times when things go up like that, most of these distributors, they take advantage of it and even increase their price, not as if they bought it like that. So I would just advise them, or probably I would just beseech them not to put pressure more on the citizens in Nigeria. Just try and help each other. Understand? Let them put it down.
They urge the federal government to this problem.
What the pressure they are being placed upon, probably in terms of what they need to pay, maybe in wharf or probably on the sea, it's at times too much. Maybe the government should look into that. Let it be affordable, or probably affordable for them to bring it in, and make it easy for them so that they can be able to make it easy for the citizens of Nigeria.
Those people that are selling all this, they are complaining about the dollars being increased every day. And my advice to government is they should find something, a lasting solution about this problem. The majority of people are crying. Everything is high. So they should find something about it. That's my own advice.
My advice to the government is to make use of this local production, local materials, our forest reserve there. We have a lot of resources there that we can harness.
From Akure, Gufalomo reporting for Galaxy TV News.
We take our attention to Kaduna State, where efforts to promote a peaceful coexistence amongst people with diverse culture and religion continues to thrive, as notable foundations such as the Global Peace Foundation of Nigeria, in collaboration with Life Anchor International Foundation, deemed it fit and necessary and timely to present a Peace Ambassadors football match among religious groups. The step, no doubt, relays a true definition of peace revival as the clamor for a conflict-free society intensifies. The executive director of the Peace Ambassadors and Life Anchor football match says the step is worthy of emulation.
I want to believe for any society to have meaningful development, there is the need for maintaining peace. It has to be deliberate, it has to be consciously done. Now these two things are very, very important. Deliberately done and consciously done. And I also want to say that irrespective of what has happened to us as a people, there is a need for us to forgive one another, whether Christians or Muslims.
Looking at this year's theme, we have two key notes, two key words to take note of: equitable and sustainable world. How do we achieve that? Through equity, fairness, just and impartial treatment of human beings to be equal in all aspects.
We intend that this is already a statement we've made today. That we hope that this message will be domesticated by all participants. Everybody is to take this message home and then begin to promote peace, live for peace, do everything to ensure that peace remains and grows in our community. That is all we intend to achieve. So for us, it's a statement. And we want this statement to be domesticated by all participants. Take it home and let's ensure that we have a better society, a very peaceful society, because nothing going to work if we don't have peace.
You're still on to Galaxy Television. It is time for us to bring you more news, this time from Desk and International News.
Welcome to news from the international scene. The Taliban's notorious former head of religious police has said extreme punishments such as execution and amputations will resume in Afghanistan. Mullah Nuruddin Turabi, now in charge of prisons, told newsmen amputations were necessary for security. He said these punishments may not be meted out in public as they were under previous Taliban rule in the 1990s, but he dismissed outrage over their past public executions. "No one would tell us what our laws should be," he said. Since taking power in Afghanistan on 15 August, the Taliban have been promising a milder form of rule than in their previous tenure. But there have already been several reports of human rights abuses carried out across the country. On Thursday, Human Rights Watch warned that the Taliban in Herat were searching out high-profile women, denying women freedom of movement outside their homes, and imposing compulsory dress codes. And in August, Amnesty International said the Taliban fighters were behind the massacre of 9 members of the persecuted Araza minority. Amnesty Secretary General Agnes Callamard said at the time that the cold-blooded brutality of the killing was a reminder of the Taliban's past record and a horrifying indicator of what Taliban rule may bring. Moving on to India, 2 men posing as lawyers shot dead a notorious gangster inside a courtroom in India's capital, Delhi. They opened fire at Jitendra Man Gogi inside the courtroom in Rohini, where a case was being aired against him. Officials say police returned fire, killing the 2 men. Police suspect a rival gang planned the attack. Gogi was on Delhi's police most wanted list, and he was also an accused in dozens of cases, including murder, kidnapping and fraud in other states. The incident has raised questions over the security of Delhi's courts. A senior politician said the incident showed a serious lapse in security planning. Gogi was arrested in Delhi in March last year on charges of murder and extortion. Officials said he was a target of many gangs due to his swift rise in the crime world. Reports say his career in crime began when he was a teenager and initially involved incidents of carjacking and theft. But later, he was a prime suspect in many high-profile killings, including that of a popular singer in Haryana state. Finally, on the international scene, going to Asia, China's central bank has announced that all transactions of cryptocurrencies are illegal, effectively banning digital tokens such as Bitcoin. Virtual currency-related business activities are illegal financial activities, the People's Bank of China said, warning it seriously endangers the safety of people's assets. China is one of the world's largest cryptocurrency market. Fluctuations there often impact the global price of cryptocurrencies. The price of Bitcoin fell by more than $2,000 in the wake of the Chinese announcement. It is the latest in China's national crackdown on what it sees as volatile speculative investment at best and a way to launder money at worst. Trading cryptocurrency has officially been banned in China since 2019, but is continued online through foreign exchanges. However, there has been a significant crackdown this year. In May, China's state institution warned buyers they would have no protection for continuing to trade Bitcoin and other currencies online, as government officials vow to increase pressure on the industry. In June, it told banks and payment platforms to stop facilitating transactions and issued a ban on mining the currencies, the trade of using powerful computers to make new coins. But Friday's announcement is the clearest indication yet that China wants to shut down cryptocurrency trading in all its forms. The statement makes clear that those who are involved in illegal financial activities are committing a crime and will be prosecuted. The foreign website providing such services to Chinese citizens online is also an illegal activity, it said. And that's it from news from the international scene.
From our international news, we move over to entertainment news.
Welcome to entertainment news. Nollywood veteran and thespian Olu Jacobs is one of the aged icons in the movie industry who has paid his dues over the years. The septuagenarian was recently spotted in a video that warmed the heart of many Nigerians online. Actress Tonto Jumbo took to her Instagram page with a video which showed the moment Jacob paid his wife, Joket Silva, a surprise visit on set. The veteran looked older and seemed to have lost a lot of weight, as he was, however, coherent and aware of the situation around him. A surprised Jumbo rushed down the stairs, of course, to greet him before giving him a hug, an act that got people laughing. Despite the lovely video, Nigerians could not help but notice the drastic change in Olu Jacob's physical appearance. Meanwhile, the founder of Deeper Life Bible, Chuck Williams Folorunsho Kumuyi, stormed Abuja for a church crusade in an expensive whip worth millions of naira, and this has got social media buzzing. Kumuyi was accompanied by his wife, who were received by church officials as they alighted from a platinum limousine ride. The car choice didn't sit well with some folks, as they thought it is a departure from the modest lifestyle the preacher is known for and teaches. Also trending is popular Nollywood actress Tonto Dike, who is obviously not one to go down without a fight, as she has involved a well-known dancer, Jane Maynard, in a drama with her ex-boyfriend Prince on social media. Now, taking to her page, Tonto reacted to the lawsuit filed by Prince against her and the DSS, where he demanded 10 billion naira in compensation. The actress took to her page once again, sharing the leaked tapes of Prince speaking with another lady about his sexcapades while with Tonto. In the caption of the post, Tonto noted that Prince needs to answer to the law for illegal recording of a private moment and allegedly sharing them on social media. Not stopping there, Tonto also used the opportunity to claim that Prince had several sexcapades and sex tapes of the popular dancer Jane Maynard in his possession, as well as those of other married women. The actress added that if he had not blackmailed them with it yet, it was only a matter of time. Tonto concluded her long note by urging Prince not to run away from the law if he was indeed innocent and the allegations were false. Finally, on entertainment news, American singer Jason Derulo and his girlfriend Jenna Frooms has ended their relationship 4 months after giving birth to their son. The music star announced their split via his Twitter page that they decided to part ways. He continued by saying that she's an amazing mother, or being apart would allow them be the best version of themselves. The pair of exes welcomed son on May 8. Derulo and Frooms met in 2020, just before the pandemic. And that'll be all on entertainment news.
And now for more updates and latest news, visit our website www.galaxytvonline.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel www.youtube.com/GalaxyTV Nigeria. Follow and interact with us on our Facebook page www.officialgalaxytv. You can avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story